my talk, because I work for Auth0, I'm just going to talk about Auth0 rules. So Auth0 rule. Has anyone ever used Auth0? A little bit. Okay. Have you ever used rules? No. They're super fun. I love them. So yeah, as I said, I'm Kepehe. I work for Auth0. Auth0 is an identity as a service company. So if you're building an application and you have login, like you want your users to log in, you can use our product to put on your project, and we take care of all the authentication for you, and so that makes it easier for developers. I am an R&D content engineer, which means I write technical blog posts. So I actually wrote a blog post on Auth0 rules, so you can read more about that on our blog. You can just find that at auth0.com/blog. And yeah, so what is a rule? So a rule is a JavaScript function that Auth0 has created for developers to turn on in the Auth0 dashboard and make authentication specifically for a user. If you want to create a user and make them an admin, we make that easy, and we'll go through a couple of those. But really, it's just a bunch of little things that you can turn on in your application, in your dashboard, to have your authentication more robust. So rather than do a bunch of slides about it, I'm just going to do a live demo of it. So let's get into that. So I've created a React application. What the application does is you open it up, it shows a list of TV shows and has a login button. That login button, once you log in and go through the Auth0 sign-in process, you then have a list of TV shows and movies. So once you see the movie view, you know that you were authenticated. So we're really quickly going to set up the Auth0 authentication process, and then we'll get into the rules. So right now, this is just setting up Auth0. It's actually very simple, so we'll do that real quick. So in my app, I have my, if I can move this, oh yeah. Okay, so in my app, in order to set up my React application with the Auth0 dashboard, can you guys see that? Let me make that a little. There, is that better? Yeah. So this app is already running, it already has all the code. I'm not going to build it, but let's set up the Auth0 part of it. So in here, we have our client ID, we have the domain, redirect URL, logout URL, and the audience. So to get those things, we're going to go to our Auth0 dashboard. So I've already logged in, and in here, we're going to click on Create Application. So you create any name for it. I'm going to do Auth0 rule. Pick single page web application, create that. We're going to go to Settings, and then in here, I'm going to find all the things that I needed for my application. So I'm just going to copy this, go back, put that in my domain, go here, get my client ID, and then my redirect URL. So once they click on login, we want to redirect them to something. Or once they're authenticated, we want to redirect them to something. So this could be anything. I'm doing close pop-up because I want the pop-up to close, and I've already written the code to take them to the view that opens up the movies list. So we're going to copy this, scroll down, put it in our allowed callback URLs, then get my logout URL. So once they log out, redirect them somewhere, and then put that in allowed logout URLs. I'm going to save all this. Now, if you see, we have audience, so your API identifier. We're going to do that in a second, but right now, my app and my Auth0 dashboard are talking to each other because I have that client ID, I have that domain, and I've told my application where to go, where to redirect the user after they've logged in or logged out. So that's all good to go. That's set up. So now let's get that API identifier. So how do I save that? Make sure to always save your changes. So I'm going to go to APIs in the dashboard. And here I'm going to create an API. I'm going to call it Auth0 rules rule. And then Auth0 rules rule. So this is going to be my identifier. That's what I'm going to put into my code so that we can set up the API from the dashboard. So create, go to my settings, because we don't need to do the quick start. Get that identifier and put it right in here. So now it's fully set up, the API is set up, and we're almost to the point where we can have our authentication completely ready. Save that. Same thing here. I'm going to put my API identifier, and I need my domain to put here. So this is just my config file for my API folder, and then I was also working in my auth config file. All these are being ignored because that client ID and your domain you do want protected. So those are all in. Let's save. No, this is saved. That's good. We don't need to change anything. Let's get our app running. Okay. So in here, as you see, it is a list of TV shows, nothing much to it. But we're going to log in, and once we log in, if I did it all right, it should show us a list of movies. So log in, we get that pop-up. Now Auth0 has two different ways for logging in. So there's a redirect, and then there's a pop-up. The pop-up obviously keeps their original page up. The redirect takes them to Auth0, but it doesn't. So yeah, redirects them to Auth0 and then takes them back to whatever callback URL you put in the application. So I'm going to log in with Google, verify. Oh wait. I gotta do it on this one. I have like 100 different email addresses, so I gotta make sure it's the right one. Okay, I have done something wrong. Auth0 rules. Ah! Okay. So, hold on, let me just pull up. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Let's try this again. Let's restart this. So log in with Google. Oh, okay, so audience is not valid. Invalid token. So let's look at our token. So we have, now we're going to do some debugging. So let's look at our Auth0. Let's go back to our application. Let's go to the Auth0 rules rule. Copy that client ID again. Let's make sure this is correct. That's good, that's good. Auth0 rules rule. Good. Okay. Start this again. Okay, let's do movies. Log in. Do you see it right off the bat?
I'm trying to tweak the streaming link. Can you zoom that in? Audience, should blah blah is not valid.
Sure.
Where'd you throw the token? I get this all the time.
I know. Okay, hold on. Callback, URL, allowed, log out. Should just be that.
Yeah, go to the code. Let's see, audience. And that came right out of the dashboard.
Yeah.
This one time,
Oh, I think I know what it is. I'm going to create a new one.
this one time I did like an hour of it, and it just wanted a trailing flash at the end. And that was it.
Okay, let's do a brand new one, because I was testing this earlier. Okay. We'll do this one. Yeah, really, right?
That's it. Do it around your relatives and they'll think you're good.
When you're around relatives, you use the thing that does the matrix screen.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's that? On your terminal?
No, there's like a URL you can go to, and
Oh.
you just type anything. You just smash keys, and it just makes it look like.
Okay. I'm gonna have to find that.
Matrix.
Thanksgiving's coming up. I gotta find that.
Everybody use that on movies for actors.
Oh, that's probably what they do. Yeah.
So they're type whatever.
Yeah.
It's out code.
Yeah. It's funny what they do on TV. Like I was watching a show and they had one person hacking away, and they were like, "Oh, the virus is coming! Hurry!" And one person goes, "Oh, hold on, let me help." And two people are on the same keyboard. Fair program. I wish.
Or some of the
Oh
piano,
my
right?
Does it? I don't know anything about the piano.
People can play.
Okay.
You know, there's some songs written for two players.
That's
on
cool.
the same piano.
That's cool.
So,
That's her world. She's the piano.
What was that? I didn't? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, let's figure this out together, because this is...
You guys know about Hacker Typer?
yeah, Hacker Typer is great.
Seen that? So
Makes you feel smart.
go full screen, and then this is how you hack any website. You just spit stuff. Oh, it's everywhere.
Is it supposed to do that?
No, actually, hacking should do that. Come on. Oh, come on, that's broken too. Oh, technology. Well, it's supposed to just stream code out onto the screen.
One of my favorite things to do on a friend's laptop is if you have access to their terminal, there's a plugin called, maybe one of you knows, where you start typing and it starts shaking the screen on every character. You know what I'm talking about? I'll find it. I think VSH. Yeah.
There we go.
Friends you don't like.
Anybody else?
Yeah, on those people. What does it do?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it just. Oh, okay.
Is anyone seeing anything that I'm missing?
Overriding or using the wrong variable. When it actually happens.
The Hacker TV show is back on next one.
So client ID.
The error is that the audience is, and then it shows your client ID.
I know. That shouldn't... I mean, that's all right there. Say that again. So it's calling, so it's talking to this file and this file. We'll go away from that.
I've never used.
Yeah, it's fun to review.
But out of curiosity, how come the audience uses the URL, but in the console it's giving you that really wrong?
I know,
Client ID?
that's like where it's, because it's not supposed to be doing that.
Oh, okay.
So that's why,
My guess is that whatever is actually using this config to make the call is using the wrong variables.
Yeah, go to the service.js. All the way top. Config from config, so it's not using that config sample file. Config.client ID. Go back to the click login.
this thingy.
Can I see the? So it does okay for sending the user to Auth0, but it doesn't do okay on the callback. So can we check out the? Yeah, can we go back to the code and check out like on wherever the code is for after you land back on the site?
Check line 46.
In service? No, in service.js, yeah. 40. Okay, so login. Pop up the Auth0 authorized. Okay. Can I go in and break?
Yeah.
Okay. This is how Chris debugs. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, different error, so that's a good sign. What is? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was in the method. Never mind. Let's move that up here.
So it's pulling the audience.
Just for my peace of mind, I just want to do this because it's done it to me like 10 times. Okay. Okay. So I'm just crazy. Audience not valid. I don't know why it's using the client ID as the audience.
Yeah.
Let's close this little guy out.
Can we also the wrong variable in the source tag? What is the audience?
Wait, are you saying in? Let's see. Yeah, it looks right here. I swear there was a working demo like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to, where's Auth0 at?
Over. Straight over.
Let's go with, here's your name, where's audience? Not in there.
It's in APIs.
APIs. Which
Yeah,
one?
the third one.
So audience.
Is that identifier. Right there.
This value will be used as audience for parameter. Okay. Okay, so let's test. Okay, so when they do this, they say, I want the body, client ID is that.
Is that the same client ID in the console?
That is not.
Mm-mm.
Should it be this one?
No.
Client secret, don't copy that. You don't need a grant type or anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And this is what we should get back, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So something is up somewhere in here. Okay, so app.js, auth, login, callback, logged in. Okay, so logged in, set state, I don't know.
Are we using config or config.com?
Oh yeah, we're for sure using config. Yeah. So where's the login button called? It's over in app. Auth.login. So this, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's hide that for a second. Come back over. And you know, sometimes if you just do it again, maybe it works. Yeah. Service.js 46. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Copy the token string and make that the audience name too.
Do the what?
Use the token as the audience name. It's confused by that.
Yeah, we did try changing the audience.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, APIs.
As a break
Yeah.
slider.
Yeah.
Create. Well, my new API.
If you're excited about this, wait till I go up. Mine's gonna be worse.
Okay, settings. We want this identifier to go right here. Save that. And right here. Save that. Are these still? Did you? Okay. Fingers crossed. What? A new error though. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, unauthorized. So let's do instead.
What are your second step you have to do
Oh, the ID. Probably the ID of this.
after you create the API? Is there another step you have to do?
So I did a new application. So in that one, yeah, let's walk through this. Let's start from the beginning. I did lots of E's on the name. I need from this the client ID. Let's copy that again. Put that here. Save that. My redirect and my logout. So redirect should go into allowed callback. Okay. Ha! I may have, no, that shouldn't matter. But that was wrong. Okay, now that's right. So that's all saved. That's in. Let's just copy this domain again. Save that. Auth0 domain. Save that. Okay. Let it load. Okay. Log in. Let's do that.
Biggest reasons.
We love bugs, don't we? All right, API audience, manage. Yeah. Do you want to go while I try and figure this out?
Sure. Like you unplug and I jump in? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back.
Yes. And then you might have to have something to present.
Good.
Let's see. And then
How do I stop it? Okay.
I think it
Oh, this thing.
HDMI.
And
a little better. It's like it's sharing the other screen now. I'm just getting your backdrop. I'm not seeing anything else. It's up there. Oh.
Okay.
Just not showing you my apps, yeah?
Did you touch on the screen?
Yeah, just not showing. Yeah.
If you drag the window onto the other screen,
I only have one showing.
oh, it's not even showing. Oh.
Yeah, I don't even have any. You're all seeing everything I see. Yeah. Too bad. Before we start, I said I would find that thing to annoy your friends. It basically just shakes the screen and sends pixels everywhere. But it is hyperturned, not really. What would that look like? How easy would it be compared to 2013 when I started from scratch last time? And what I found kind of sucked. There's still so much that has to happen for a business to come together, right? And even back then, it was harder, it was tougher. We have far more tools now. We have far more companies now that help. So that's kind of what this talk stemmed from. Is I want to see how fast we can build a SaaS product and launch it. So we're going to see if we can build something in like 20 minutes today. We'll see. So let's get started. We have some slides here. Let's code up a business. That's all the intro. I just want to see how fast we can build something new. So I'm Chris on Code, founder of Scratch.io, Google developer expert in web technologies, actress on Code on Twitter. And if you see these really annoying animations, it's because this is my first time using Keynote, and I wanted to go crazy. So it's a great time to start a business, now more than ever. It's never been a better time because of the amount of tools that we have, the amount of reach that we have. I heard somebody say that right now the technology industry right now is a reverse to the Industrial Revolution. Right? So our technology revolution, the Industrial Revolution, everyone's kind of like getting packed into a factory, just drone working it out, you know. And now everyone with technology, everybody can be individuals again, kind of separate out and get away from that kind of community work aspect. So a lot of this talk is going to be made around like hacking your own company together, about bootstrapping, about trying to build a company as quickly as possible. This is not me saying that working for a large company sucks, because if my company gets acquired, I'm stuck at a place for 4 years. So, part of the deal. So how many of you have seen these two websites, Barometric.com and evhackers.com/product? Okay, cool. So I kind of want to do a little experiment here. A lot of times we hear these hackers kind of creating new companies and stuff like that, and you think, that is the dumbest thing ever. How could they possibly make that much money doing anything, right? So I kind of want to see, yeah. Yeah, I will. Once I figure out how Keynote shares, I will. So if you go here, barometric.com/open, what they do, Barometric is a company that you can use to analyze your own company and see how you're doing with your MRR, which is your monthly recurring revenue, which that's kind of what you want to see is like the main number, how much am I making per month from my business that is running on film, right? So a thing called hyperping, all they do is they take a URL and they tell you, they email you when that website is down. So they make $2,000 a month from that, and bootstraps. And there's a lot of cool companies out here that you might not be sure how much they make, but there's a big transparent push right now to see, say like, hey, our company is open, you can see all whatever we make, right? So a fun thing to do here, Transistor over $29,000 a month. Who's used Insomnia? Cool. Yeah, Insomnia, I was surprised when I saw that number. So yeah, these are fun things to see and look at. So yeah, check that out on your own. Indie Hackers is another cool place to look, where it's kind of more bootstrap companies, people that really don't have funding and started as a side project, and there's a lot of cool ones here as well. Check out that animation. So what does it take to create a startup or a business, right? This is us. And as we go along, we learn that to build a business, your SEO, that's a bad animation. Marketing, and then by the time you launch and you finally get to your customers, you're already burnt out, right? So, who's used Netlify in the room? Cool. Okay. So Netlify is one of the kind of newer companies. 2015 was when they were up and running. They try to make websites as quickly as possible, and they offer you a lot of services, a lot of tools for you to kind of build a business quickly, right? So when I was looking, I looked at all the different ways to add authentication. There's Auth0 over here. All the different ways to build an API. There's Firebase that does an API for you. You can roll your own Ruby or Node or Laravel backend and create your own APIs, but that's a pain. A lot of all of this stuff is not really competitive advantage, right? Like, most people don't care what your database is on. Most people don't care how you're authenticated, if you're on a GraphQL API or on whatever API. So Netlify tries to remove a lot of this for you. So we're going to see just how far we can get in about 20, 30 minutes. I want to try to do a new website in React with authentication and charging customers for products. And we'll see how far we get. Okay. That's my final step. And then if I am moving too fast, or if you have any questions on any part of this, especially the code, or clarification in anything, please shout out, let me know. I don't mind stopping. I prefer to, because then I can take a break. I don't know how that's doing that. Okay, so let's start CD documents. I throw all of my projects into a folder called Batcave. Let's do npx, create React app, downtown voting. All right, so let that thing run. Any in the room? Cool. You fans? Cool. All right. Angular fans. It's funny. I was working on trying to become. And this doesn't leave this room. I was working on becoming a Google developer expert for a while, and like you have to be nominated by a Google employee, all that stuff. And by the time I got to it, it was like Angular 6 was out. I'm like, no, I don't really do Angular anymore. But Angular is still fun. Angular is great. TypeScript is taking over the world right now. So we're going to CD into downtown coding. And I know this isn't the cleanest way to do this, but we're going to go to GitHub. We're going to create a new repo, pull that repo down. So new repo, we can call it downtown. Zoom in for you all. Coding, SAS, public, no readme, no git ignore. Let's create that. Copy this. Come back over. I'm going to open this in VS Code. I was going to ask who's using VS Code, but I think a more appropriate question is who's not using VS Code? Sublime? JetBeans. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. They're all good. So let's clean this up a little bit. Remove the activity bar. Let's move the sidebar. Let's open up here. We'll do git clone. Paste that in. I know you can create a repo from the command line, but I just hate doing it. So I'm going to move the git. How many times I've done this? Come here. Did that work? Okay. Git status. There we go. Okay, first commit. No remotes. I thought we just did it. Okay. All I'm trying to do is get oh. I already burned like 5 of our minutes just installing Git. So we're going to move this Git into a folder. Actually, hold on. I want to see if we don't have one already. Okay, so there's no Git file, right? If I do Git status, it should say it doesn't exist. Okay. So if we go into move.git into a folder called .git. Okay, so that's an empty folder. And that has a Git file, and now we see our changes. For sure, I did that last time. But okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's do our. Okay, so let's close that out. Let's go over here. When you're starting a new project, who has a first commit that they use? Anybody besides first? Hello world. Okay.
Is that an extension to that those emoticons?
That was Mac's built-in one. Control, Command, Spacebar. Yeah. Okay, so if we refresh this, it should, okay, so this is our entire React app, this is our emoji, right? And then if we go over here, we start our app, let's close that down, yarn start. That should start our React app for us. Cool, and with this commit, please. Cool. So if you haven't used Netlify yet, this is why I really like Netlify. I don't work for them. I'll take sponsorship though, but, so you go new site from Git, and this is my Netlify dashboard. This is the first thing you see. You go new site, you log into GitHub, go down here, we're going to say downtown coding. Come on. Select that. You can tell it what branch to deploy on your GitHub repo. So if you wanted like a production branch or whatever, you could do that. You tell it what build it run, and then you tell it where the directory is where your built files will be. So when you build a project in React, React puts it all into a build folder. Angular and Vue do differently. And then we deploy the site. And they always make these random names. Baraham. And, well, while we're waiting, let's talk about what Netlify does. Hosting any React Vue Angular app is free for unlimited users, as far as I can tell. They haven't stopped me yet. And what they do is they do their add-ons is where they charge you. So analytics, Lambda functions. Who here has done any serverless functions? Yeah? Cool. So I think Netlify is one of the fastest ways to start with serverless functions. We're not going to mess with them today. They do authentication right out of the box. We will do that today. They do forms, which we won't do today. Large media won't do today. But a lot of this stuff kind of comes with Netlify. So this over here, site deploy in progress. You can actually watch what's happening. So you can see it do the whole yarn build. It shows you the files that were generated, all that good stuff. And then the site is live, so let's go take a look. Tender .netlify, and that's our React app in the wild. And you can add a domain to that like that. So the cool thing about Netlify too is they can actually publish different branches, like your staging branch or like a bug fix branch, and they'll give you a custom URL, and you can test that in production, well, staging, I guess, just by pushing to a different branch. So, okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add authentication to this. Let's see how quick we can do it. Here's the dashboard for our let me change that name. Where is it? Change site name. Downtown coding. And then we're going to go over here. This is our dashboard. We're going to add identity. We just go in here and turn it on. And now, if you wanted to roll your own authentication, you could just hit this API, do a post request, and you can authenticate. It'll give you a token, a JSON Web Token, which you can use for authentication. But Netlify has a couple packages that we can use directly in our stuff. So the one I'm going to use is called React Netlify Identity Widget. Do they have an example? They do. And the whole point of this was just seeing how fast I can take money from customers with coding as least amount as possible. And this is kind of the things that I found. So we hit login, and it gives you like a whole login system. You can do Google, GitHub, Twitter, whatever. So let's see how fast we can do this. So we're going to go yarn add all this stuff.
Out of curiosity,
Yeah.
is that using Auth0 then?
This is not using Auth0, no.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is Netlify's own authentication system. It is a bit simpler than Auth0's. If you just want basic authentication for your website alone, it'll get the job done. If you want authentication with single sign-on, like you have 5 different domains and you want one sign-on, you'd have to look at Auth0 for that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's go copy all this. We'll split this out over here, paste that all in. And yeah, if you have any questions on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, if you think what I'm doing is stupid, let me know. So, okay, we've added that. package.json, double check. We have those three things that we added, and the Netlify identity widget. Okay, so let's just go copy more code. So this whole thing, it basically just gives us an identity modal. I hope that's large enough. An identity modal, and we're just going to use that, and then that's the thing that brings up the modal. So we're going to copy all this stuff. It uses React context, if you're familiar with that. Similar to Vuex, it's just state management in React. The simplest one we can find. Actually, we want this style.css as well, so let's copy that, bring that over, just plop that right in. Cool. And then let's remove activity bar. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah. The thing that they want, so they want two things. They want to wrap everything in what's called a context provider component, and that's it. So I personally don't like how they did this. It's a little confusing. We're going to go with export default function, return identity context provider. URL is equal to HTTPS, what do I call it, downtime coding? Netlify.com. Okay. So basically we're adding a context provider, and that wraps our app. And our app is right up here. Let's remove everything else in here. I don't want this header. I don't want this logo. And I don't need that app.css. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is we need to, they say use identity context right here. So we're going to grab that. Okay. And if you're confused, so am I, because all I'm doing is copying their junk. Yeah. So.
Just extract 90% of identity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I've learned with live coding on Twitch. I've done most of the year live coding on Twitch, and a lot of people are like, oh, you're just typing magic. It's like, I know. I have no idea what it's doing either, but it's working. So let's go over here, identity modal. We're going to copy this because that's where I want to start. All this stuff here, it looks like they have, see, I don't agree with this naming even. They have a variable called dialog, which will show or hide the modal. And I'm a big fan of doing const is modal showing versus set is modal showing, right? And we're going to use state. Surprised I don't get any autocomplete there, VS Code. Okay, so is modal showing, set is modal showing. And then it looks like they grab name out of this identity. If there's identity.user, if identity user has user metadata, and then if the identity has the user of user metadata that contains name. So we're just going to go with const name is equal to Chris, and then we're going to go const. I guess that one's okay. Okay. Any questions so far? All good? Cool. Looks like there's already an error. Can't resolve React Netlify identity. I saw this earlier. I think they did their docs wrong. And so we're going to add that dependency because I don't think they did it in their thing. And as a good Samaritan, I should go do a pull request on that README, but I'm lazy. And then while that's working, let's go see what else we got to pull. So they say, if is logged in, then they're going to say hello name. Else they're going to say login. And then they're going to show the identity modal. Let's go grab this whole thing, paste that in here. We don't have dialog anymore. We have is modal showing. And we don't have set dialog anymore. We have set is modal showing to false. And then we're going to need, so this is going to be the login modal. And then we're going to need a login button. Button on click is going to be set is, oh no, sorry. Set is modal showing to true. I wish you, there we go. Okay, so let's just remove this because we don't have that anymore. Okay, so let's see, is this done? This says no errors, only warnings. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, login button. We hit login. I'm already logged in because I did this earlier. Let's log out. Okay, so let's log in. We're going to sign up with Chris, and we're going to go test@scotch.io, and my passwords for test accounts are always password, because I always forget them. Okay, so log in. What's cool too is it also does email verification automatically out of the box. Yeah, if you ever think you want to roll your own authentication, there's a lot of stuff you forget about, like verification, like forgotten password emails. It's just a whole mess. So, confirm email address. Cool, that's working. Let's log in. Let's see if it works. Test@scotch.io. Password. Log in. Okay, email not confirmed. I just did.
Did you push it?
Oh, I didn't push it. That's right. Okay, let's go push this code. I always forget how to open. There. And we'll push. I'm going to go back over to Netlify. That's not Netlify. This is Netlify. And the cool thing is we have no users found. We logged in with it, so we should see somebody. Yeah, there we go. So you can kind of like look through your users, see everything here, send them reset password emails, whatever you need. You can do the same in Auth0. There's just a lot more options.
Just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
the name Chris is just because you hard coded it, Chris, right?
No, I typed it into the mode.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't need that anymore. Yeah, I typed it in right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
A quick question with stuff like that, where
Yeah.
you've got the authentication frameworks, what do you do with your own database? Kind of use their ID if you're like join user.
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes they will, yeah, you pretty much have to associate it yourself. It's create user ID and then, yeah. There's a couple services that do the association for you. Firebase does. Firebase is really cool, real-time database. Yeah, but it would be the same if you used Auth0. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, so something that I always got confused at is database, is Netlify doesn't really have one. And then the day I was saying that to myself, they released an add-on for a database add-on, which you just do one, you go like Netlify, add fauna, and then that adds a fauna database. And I said, fauna, I've never heard of this in my life. It's actually really cool because fauna is, it automatically creates a GraphQL API for you out of the box. So that's another thing you don't have to do. Fauna is also globally distributed from what they say. And that was a big problem for Scotch because our Scotch servers are in Virginia and we have a lot of overseas traffic. And like in the US, we would see like 2-second load times. Over across the seas, we would see like 23-second load times, which is huge. And it's actually, performance is a big hit for SEO, which was huge for us as well. So for it to give you a globally distributed database with one line is insane. Yeah, so we should have deployed, that should have automatically deployed. Okay, so this one deployed in 1 minute. Let's go over here, verify again, and that should work. Okay, so that should have worked, I think. So if we log in here, it already logged us in, but we didn't actually show that in the UI. So let's log out, we'll log back in. And the way you know, okay, go away, is we inspect, we go into our application, we go into local storage in here, and you have a what's called a gotrue.user in your there, and that's all of their credentials. So you can kind of use all the stuff in your application when you want to handle showing your username and stuff like that. So here we'll do the same thing. We'll log in. We're logged in. We have that stuff, but we haven't used it yet, so we're going to go here. Let's go with console. Identity.user. Scroll zoom is so hard to do. Inspect, refresh, and we have our user right here. All that stuff is right here. So then we can say user.metadata, and here full name is Chris, right? So you can just say like if, identity and identity.user. Oh, sorry, that's no iUser. Then you show this, or if you have identity and identity.user, then you go, hey there, identity, oh boy, .user metadata, dot full name. Okay, I didn't even use these. Oh well. So yeah, hey there, Chris, and then I guess we should show a logout button. Do we have a logout method?
Need to log them in. You don't have to.
Yeah, they never have to leave. So,
The logout's in the mode.
yeah, it is in the mode, so we could open the mode again. I want to use this actually. So let's see what's in identity. Let's delete that real quick. Okay. And you should probably just go to the website and look at their API, but you know, wait. Is there a logout? Logout user. Here we go. So we're going to use logout user, come back over here, bring back our little button, identity.logout user, should be enough. Bye. Okay, so that's all good. Our application local storage should be cleared out. If they logged out, it is. So yeah, that's authentication. How long did that take? Nobody's time?
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
What? Okay, then Stripe, adding Stripe would take too long. So yeah, building a business. I think Netlify is probably closest to being an all-in-one package right now. My gripes with Netlify is their serverless functions and their authentication don't really work together that well yet. But if you haven't used Netlify, it's a fun thing to try. yeah. Any questions? Anything else? Yes.
How did you sell your business? Did you shop it around, or did they find you?
They found me. So from what I hear, from all the stories I've heard from people, is if people are coming to you, they're usually like scamming you. So this is like the 1 in 100 that actually worked out, and it helps because I've known the company for so long. But yeah, I 100% told myself that we would not sell, and then here we are. So the talks just went well. The company is really good. It's a good culture fit. Yeah.
And how did you come to a value? How did you value your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of people will say valuation. I mean, I've never sold a company. You know, I've never taken VC funding. I've never done any of that. So it's very confusing. But a lot of people will say, like, hey, take revenue and use that as a factor, right? But I guess if you're not supposed to do that, because like that's kind of misleading. It's more about like we basically value each article as how many tenants can they get from each article, and then what is the cost of a signed up user to them, and that's what we kind of valued at. And internally, and what they came back with was actually the same. So it worked out.
When you started, were you thinking of like a business, or was it more like?
No, this was like coding diary. Yeah, so I just wrote as a coding diary because there's a lot of stuff you look online for, and there's like nobody's written about it. So if I had a struggle, I thought I'd put it down on paper. So like highly recommend writing on Dev2 or I guess not Medium anymore, but wherever. And then here we are 5 years later, and this is kind of the numbers that we've pulled so far. So it's been fun to see growth. And the fun thing about building your own stuff is you learn so much more than the code aspect of it. Like financials and like SEO and marketing has been such a learning process for me. So yeah.
Let's talk about
Cool. This is when I usually leave the room, but it's PHP. So it started as a WordPress site because I wanted to. It started as a WordPress site because I wanted to get it out there as fast as possible. Like, stole some pre-built theme, whatever, and then like 2 years down the road, we switched it over, and I knew PHP the best. So did that. Yeah. But I looked at like what would it take to build a blog of this today. Gatsby is probably closest, I think. I like Gatsby a lot. But the things that got me tripped up on Gatsby, because we have a subscription service on the site. We do like monthly videos and stuff like that, very egghead style. Doing payment processing with Gatsby, I wasn't entirely sure about. So, I don't know. Next.js was also really cool. Yeah, not ViewPress. What's the other view one? Next, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Gridsom's cool too. So yeah. Anything else?
What's next for you?
I'm going to take some money and run away for a while. But for me, one of my favorite things that's happened over the past few years is kind of everyone's moving back to their own blogs. Everyone's like moving away from Medium and that kind of stuff. And I have experience building my own blog, and there's a lot of pain points and a lot of cool features that I think people should have. That like share buttons are still only on like 50% of the articles I see. A Medium style highlighter, nobody has. Like where you highlight a thing and it's like, oh, 10 people highlighted this, you know? Like, I don't know why people don't do that. So I have badassblogtools.io, and I'm just going to like take a bunch of the stuff we already built and kind of package it, put it out there. Yeah. And then I will be working for this other company, so we'll see how that goes. Yes?
Are you retaining the rights to some stuff?
So, do you still own your photo?
Yeah. So all of my articles they will own, which is interesting. Funny story. They looked at the code and they were like, "Oh, we'd love to value this as part of the acquisition deal." And they looked at the code and they're like, "Oh, it's PHP. We can't offer you any money for it." But not because it was PHP, because they're on Ruby, and they said they didn't want it. But the cool thing about them that I kind of push for is that Scotch will stay alive as a site, and they want to just throw resources at me to kind of keep that going, which is very helpful for me and my separation anxiety. But yeah. Yes.
I assume you're still in like negotiation and like finalization with this deal you're talking about. When would you know who is acquiring?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't even supposed to say I was talking about acquiring, but if all goes to plan, it should be 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we'll see. Yeah.
So we should buy stock now or after?
Yeah, after. Who knows where this is going to go? But yeah, we are going to change our logo color when it happens, so we won't have the gold anymore. It'll be fine. It'll be Scotch by XYZ. Yeah. I love this kind of stuff. Any other questions is cool with me. I am trying to turn like all this stuff into a starter kit for a SaaS application. So it would include Stripe payments, it would include login, authentication, it would include the database and an API, and then you could take that, run with it, and because really what customers care about is like your actual product, what you're serving. So I want to eventually create this into like an actual starter kit. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Let's swap back and finish this one out.
Did you figure out what the error was?
No. So I just did a whole new project. Yeah, where's that done?
Someone told me a while ago, they're like, if you don't think state management is hard, think about the fact that 80% of your problems are solved by a reset. It all goes away.
Okay, so in this application, instead,
Can't really keep presenting again.
oh, yeah. Start searching. Yeah? Okay. Can we just start the color? Okay, so in this new app we have a login button. Once you log in, then you see a search bar. You can like search through the GitHub API. And I've already set up the authentication. And yeah. So to set up a rule to this, so I'm going to have a email address that I'm going to allow admin credentials. Okay. So to add a rule to, let me make sure this works. So log in. All right, so you go here. Let's do Chris's. So you do that and you search and you find by the GitHub API a person in. Okay, yeah, that's you. So down here we saw user information, yada yada. We won't go into that right now, but yeah. So that is what's happening now. So I'm going to go into rules. So on Auth0 dashboard, I went to the rules on the left side, create a new rule, and I'm going to make my email address be an admin. So there's a lot of different rules that we can use. So there's a bunch of in-access control, enriched profile. MFA is very easily done here. So that's like a lot of coding can go into that. And so we just allow you to turn a switch on and you got it going. So I'm going to do set roles to a user. So in here we have all the code written out for us. All we have to do is change this little block. Put in the email address that you want to be admin. Save those changes.
Out of curiosity, can you have multiple admins or only one?
Yeah, so just comma and then next one. So that one should now have admin attached to it. So let's log in again with Google. And if we drop this down, we now see that I'm in fact an admin. So if we go back to that same rule, let's just change it to chris@auth0.com. Save changes. So now that's saved. Let's log out. Log back in. And with Google, same thing. Drop that down. And now, if you see here, I'm just a user. So without that rule on, you wouldn't see that. So because the rule is on, I'm not Chris at Auth0.com, I'm just a regular user, so that's how that would work. So it's super easy to put admin capabilities on for anybody. And yeah, you would just do a comma, add another email address, and you can do a whole list of admins. So that's the first rule.
Arbitrary JavaScript?
Yeah, it's already been written out for you. You just have to, depending on the rule, and I'll show you another rule where you don't have to change anything, you're just turning it on. This one you have to put in the email address, but it's already written out for you, and depending on the rule, like MFA, you have to, I mean, they're all a little bit different, but. So in another one, if we did, so create rule, oh, and in the rules dashboard, you can turn it on and off here, but I only have one active. So we're going to create another rule. This one, we're, oh yeah, sorry. There you go. So in this one, we're going to be creepy, and we're going to see where our users are logging in from. So add country to user profile. So in this one, it's a little function. There's not much to it. You don't have to do anything to this, okay? Just save. We'll go back to rules, see that it's there, and then it's turned on. So let's log back out. Log in. With Google, the new object, and now you see that I'm logging in from the United States, and that's my time zone, and I'm still a user because my email's not an admin spot. So that's Auth0 rules. They're super easy to use, very easy to turn on, turn off, and if you go to create rule, there's a lot that you can pick from. And that's it.
Creating your own custom one, is there a limit to when we can import it for third-party languages?
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't messed around too much with that. But yeah, MFA is super easy to turn on. If you use the Duo security, we already have it like set up for you. All you have to do is just hit save on that. And then it turns on and it goes. Another like funny one, so allow access during weekdays for a specific app. So if you're like, I don't know, you guys don't get this on the weekend, you don't get to work, okay? Go out and go on a hike, I don't know. But yeah, you can do stuff like that. Some of them are kind of goofy, but yeah. Any questions?
Do they always apply that fast? Like if you're working in multiple data centers and stuff, is it just you can hit the button and it's instantly on?
It should, yeah. I mean, it should right away, as soon as you turn it on, it should be working right away for you. So yeah. And that's Auth0 rules. Sorry, that took so long. So yeah, do you guys have any other questions for us? No? Thanks for coming, you guys. Chris is on Twitter at ChrisOnCode. I'm on Twitter at Kepehe_OK. I should have shown that because it's kind of a funky name. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be speaking at B-School. We're going to be doing, I just found out, a JavaScript talk. So we kind of show like lunaries and scope and this, and just like, it's like a fun JavaScript talk. But yeah.
Yeah, I learned today that I was going to do this talk.